Aubrey Whitley here, and thank you for stopping by. If this is your first time, welcome. We're going to talk about a fantastic topic about training and how to make sure you're making progress if you feel like you're not really sure. Like maybe you're kind of seeing some results, you're feeling better, but maybe you've just gotten to a point and you don't feel like you're progressing in your training, or maybe you're just not sure. You're like, I'm consistent, but I don't know if it's actually doing anything. We're going to talk about that. So, if you get value from this, like and subscribe. That way, you support the channel and I keep making these free videos, or you also get notified when new stuff comes out that you're going to be interested in. So, without further ado, let's jump on in. I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of the type of training I use with my clients because I'm a virtual coach. So I don't coach in person unless it's just kind of like a one, two, maybe three time thing where I'm helping ladies with their form and getting them confident in these movements for them to then take it into the gym on their own. And so we have to use some sort of method to make sure that when they do take this into the gym on their own, they're making progress and they're staying accountable. So I use progressive overload training. And that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you a brief overview of that so you can incorporate it and then let me know how it goes for you. Now, if this is something you've heard of, or you're like, I've used progressive overload training before, there still might be some nuggets that you haven't considered before. So if something comes to you and you have an aha moment, leave it in the comments. And if you try this and you see what I'm talking about in this video, come back and let us know in the comments. So the reason I use progressive overload training is because it ensures that you are increasing tension on your muscles over time. The way you build more muscle or new muscle is to increase the tension you're putting on that muscle over a period of time. And so, even if you're not trying to be this bulky person, which takes a lot of work to be bulky, just so we're clear, at least be bulky and look good being bulky. I'll put it that way. Everybody can do a dirty bulk, I suppose. But the thing is, when you're adding new muscle, it speeds up your metabolism. So the more lean muscle you have on your body, the faster your metabolism is going to be, and the better you're going to look and feel. So no matter who you are, building muscle is going to improve you. And not only that, but your bone density decreases as you get older. And resistance training is going to be the key factor to fight back against that. So resistance training and a high protein diet, those two things are key to combat the decrease in bone density over time. So progressive overload training means that you continuously add either more reps, more weight, or increase your frequency over time. And so there's a few things to consider here. Going back to, you grow muscle by increasing the tension you put on it over time. If you're changing your workouts every week, you might be shocking your muscle every week, but you're not necessarily increasing the tension over time. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing that or that progressive overload is the only way to go. I'm just saying that this is how to ensure that you're increasing tension on the muscle over time. So instead of switching workouts up every week or every other week, stick to the same workout routine week in and week out. If you get bored easily, do a 2 week split where every other week you're doing the same workouts and log all of your working sets. So I don't log my warm up sets. I find that very taxing, but you do want to do warm up sets. You want to start at a low weight and you want to warm your muscles up. You want to get that mind muscle connection to whatever you're working. So you start with a lower weight and you do warm up sets and you kind of gradually build up and build up until you get to the top weight you're going to use for your working set. Working set meaning you're going to give it all you got. Now, if you are a client, I will go so deep in detail on this and we will work on this for months. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to try to keep it a little more surface and just give you the highlights. So if this is something that you're thinking, this is interesting, I think I could get down with this, send me a message. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Instagram, I'm Aubrey the Sculpting Coach. Facebook, just Aubrey Whitley. I get back really fast on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can leave a comment. But for the purpose of this video, let's just hit the key points here. So if you keep your workouts the same, week in and week out, or bi-weekly, you keep those workouts in order and you log. Logging is queen. You log the weight you use and the reps you get at that weight. You do that for weeks after week after week, and all of a sudden, your numbers are going to be so locked in after, say, 4 or so weeks that it's going to be all you can do to just barely get a couple extra reps or to increase the weight you're using by even like 2 pounds. That's how you know you are increasing tension on the muscle over time. Your training is going to gradually get more difficult. And so that's why it works. I've never had a woman work with me who said, I haven't gotten stronger in your program. They all get stronger. They all add lean muscle. And so some more than others, depending on what their goals are. But, we could get all into working sets and, drop sets and rest pause sets, and also looking at your body and saying, okay, you're dominant up top, your legs are a little underdeveloped. We're going to strategize your training to get this result. That's what I do with women, but I know I'm talking to an audience here. So to give you guys some information that can apply to everybody, logging is queen. And, there's different rep ranges you want to use for different muscle groups. That's a whole other topic. So any of this stuff that you guys want to learn more about that I could do a video on and help a lot of people, drop it in the comments. And if you want specifically for your body, send me a message. That's the best way to do it. And so logging your reps, logging your weight, and I also encourage you to have a rest day in there, because if you're breaking your tissue down day in and day out, rest is just as important as the work, because you're literally tearing your muscle tissue. And that sounds bad, but it's how it grows. You tear it down and then you give yourself time to rest so that it can repair. When it repairs, it grows stronger. It repairs stronger. And so if you do this and you keep increasing either the reps or the weight or the frequency, which we'll talk about in a second, it is guaranteed that you will build muscle. So frequency is one thing I didn't talk about. And that means you're just hitting a muscle group or you're hitting the exercise more often than you were. So maybe you hit 2 shoulder exercises a week. And then maybe you stick with those reps and those weights, but you add in a third day. So that's another way that you're, again, increasing more tension on the muscle over time. So that's a frequency example. I'm going to finish by giving you a very straightforward example of how to do this in case you're still a little confused at how to do this or what it looks like. So let's use overhead shoulder presses for an example. Say, for now, you're hitting 3 sets of overhead shoulder presses a week. What you will do, and I'm not going to get into rep ranges because that's a whole other topic, is say you have a target rep range you want to hit failure at, meaning you can't do any more. That's the max you can do. Say you want to hit failure between 10 to 12 reps. Well, you get your numbers locked in because you've been logging them week after week. You can use 40 pounds and hit 10 reps. That's the most you can do on your first working set. So let's just use that as an example. So 40 pounds for 10 reps. That means the next week, when you come back around to that first working set, you're going to try to use 40 pounds and get 11 reps. And then the next week, you're going to try to use 40 pounds and get 12 reps. And then you're going to get stronger and stronger. Now, by the time you can do more of the top range of your target rep range, that's when you want to increase the weight. So, now you could do more than 12 reps with 40 pounds. So now it's time to bump the weight up. Now you go up to 45 pounds and you might only get 9 or 10 reps. And that is a huge jump. So you log that. And then you keep on going. Then next week you try to use 45 and get 11 reps or 12 reps. And that keeps repeating and repeating. So this is what I use with all my clients. And I can honestly say all of them. Some of them have different body goals. Some of them have different, they all have different schedules, different genes, different things they're working on. But especially since we're virtual and I'm not standing there beside them, pushing them to get those few extra reps, this is kind of their guide as they train. Because I'll end with this, the numbers don't lie. So you look at that logbook and you have your numbers dialed in and maybe you really don't feel like pushing hard that day, but you know you have a goal to get stronger, you look at that logbook and you say, damn, I did this last week, so I know I at least have to do this week. If not, add an extra rep or add a little extra weight. So hopefully that gives you a little snapshot of progressive overload training. Get yourself a logbook, start logging your exercises, and get your workouts consistent from week to week or bi-weekly. And if you want extra help, send me a message. I would say of all the videos I've done, this is probably one of the most valuable as far as being able to take this information and directly apply it. It'll make a difference really fast. So if you got value, please like and subscribe. That helps me out. And I want to get to know you better. So until next time, stay strong and thank you for watching this far. Take care.